So, a little bit of a background on the company. InBev is part of Anheuser-Busch, and it's a multinational corporation. It's based in St. Louis, Missouri, and headquartered in Belgium. Their brewing history dates back to more than 600 years ago, and their values include improvement, excitement, and health. They're committed to driving growth that leads to better living for more people in more places through brands and experiences that bring people together. And you can read the rest of that if you're interested, as well as the vision. They're very focused on building a company to last and focused on just really being able to implement those things that initiate and secure kind of a long-term success through investment in communities and just bringing people together. So here you can see kind of some of the top beer that belong to InBev. Some of the brands that might stick out to you are Budweiser, Stella, Corona. Some of the top brands that we'll be going over do belong to InBev, so that's cool. And just a little bit of a footprint and the distribution of InBev. You can see they sell beer in more than 150 countries, so they have a very strong presence across the globe. And as far as the beers that they are selling, they're selling over 500 brands. So some of the ones that we just went over are more of the popular ones, but they definitely have ones just all over the globe that you might also not know of too. So the opportunity that InBev is kind of seeking to solve is the problem focused around the issue of irresponsible or harmful drinking. And this can be related to drinking and driving, underage drinking, binge drinking, and issues that involve basically abusing alcohol. So as we examine the SWOT analysis, first let's go over the strengths. And like we just discussed, it has a super big footprint. Their beers are sold in more than 150 countries, actually more than 500, have a great positive reputation and brand recognition, and they're an acknowledged beer leader in the beer industry with an effective market and ad strategy and selling 7 of the top beers in the world. So some of the ones that we just went over probably stick out to you, and a few of the other ones are the top beers in the world, which is cool. Go InBev. And then the weaknesses are that it's been having some difficulty in the integration in its recent purchase of its greatest rival, SABMiller, and after acquiring Group Modelo, it's struggled with managing the volume of and distribution of over 100 brands of liquor and being able to kind of balance that with all the other brands that they already manage. The opportunities that InBev has is to help the situation of the harmful use of alcohol and expand into new markets and segments. Its falling trade and ownership regulations in foreign countries is also a great opportunity, and especially they're highlighting on the expansion of new product lines, including non-alcoholic and/or actually like alcoholic drinks. One of the threats that are posed against InBev is the consumer health and non-alcoholic beverages, legal issues with underage drinking and over drinking, and competition with some of its top competitors that you may know, including Miller, Molson Coors, Heineken, just to name a few.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Brazil's political system. Their freedom status is categorized as free. For their freedom rating, political rights and civil liberty rights, they're ranked 2 out of 7, 1 being the most free and 7 being the least free, which is good. For their aggregate score, it's 79 out of 100, with 100 being the most free. They have a federal republic governed under a presidential system. The president is elected by popular vote for a 4-year term with eligibility for a second term if reelected. Their elections are generally free and fair. Overall, their electoral process is ranked 11 out of 12. Some quick facts about Brazil. Their population is 206 million. The capital is Brasilia. Their GDP per capita is 8,539. Their press freedom status is partly free, same with their net freedom status, partly free. For the corruption perception index, 0 means highly corrupt and 100 is very clean. Brazil's score is 37, meaning that they are more corrupt than they are clean. For their economic environment, They have a freedom score of 51.4, making its economy the 153rd freest in 2018 index. The government spending growth helped to push public debt to 70% of GDP at the end of 2016, up from 50% in 2012. Their GDP is 3.1 trillion, and they only have an unemployment rate of 11.5%. For these four categories, 0 is categorized as the most free. For press freedom score for Brazil, which is a ranking from 0 to 100, Brazil gets 47. For the legal environment, we have it ranked at 14 out of 30. For the political environment, Brazil is ranked 22 out of 40. And for the economic environment, Brazil is ranked 11 out of 30, which overall gives us a partly free status. With the partly free status, Brazil is more free than it is not for the media systems. Brazil is considered a very literate country, ranking 99 out of 100 for literacy. For Brazil's media penetration, TV has the highest reach in Brazil. 77% of the population watch TV several times a week. In 2016, nearly 65 million households had a TV. Survey respondents recorded that 35% of them listen to the radio every day. However, 33% don't listen to it at all. 67% of survey respondents claimed they do not read the newspaper at all. So overall, it seems that for the greatest reach, TV works best for Brazilians. For Brazil's internet penetration, in 2016, there were 119 million internet users. In 2018, there were 123 million, and the expectations for 2021 are 133 million internet users. The percentage of internet users overall in the last 2 decades rose greatly. It was only 60% in 2015. In relevance to Hofstede's cultural dimensions, Brazil's power distance was ranked at 69, meaning that Brazil's society believes hierarchy should be respected, believes inequalities among people are acceptable, and that power holders have more benefits than the less powerful, and it is important to show respect to the elderly. For individualism, Brazil is ranked 38, meaning that people are integrated into cohesive groups that protect members in exchange for loyalty. For masculinity, Brazil is ranked 49. This low score means that Brazil is fairly feminine in its societal values of caring for others and quality of life. Overall, quality of life is a sign of success in Brazil. For the uncertainty avoidance, Brazil is ranked 76, showing that it has strong needs for rules and elaborate legal systems for structure. For long-term orientation, Brazil is ranked 44, which shows that their society maintains links with its own past. Brazil is fairly intermediate with doing this. For indulgence, Brazil is ranked 59, which shows that they value a high degree of leisure time and act as they please and spend their money how they wish. They are categorized as an indulgent society.
Now we're going to show you a video that InBev launched on their website that showcases their global smart drinking goals. And if you click the video below, it will launch into a new YouTube browser, or you can just watch it at the end of our presentation. So as we examine the primary and secondary publics, our primary public is young adults ages 21 to 30, so those who are of age to drink, primarily focusing on how they are handling their alcohol. And then our secondary public would be teenagers that are ages 13 to 18 to participate in workshops and trainings for safe drinking so that we can kind of hone in on practices of underage drinking and tackle those, as well as NGOs and non-alcoholics for the new non-alcoholic beverage expansion options that we will be offering, as you'll see in our later examination of tactics. The global smart drinking goals include reducing the harmful use of alcohol by at least 10% in 6 cities by the end of 2020 and implementing these best practices globally by the end of 2025. In regards to social norms, Brazil specifically InBev, hopes to influence social norms and individual behaviors to reduce harmful alcohol use by investing at least $1 billion US across our markets in dedicated social marketing campaigns and related programs by the end of 2025. The company wants to ensure no or lower alcohol beer products, expanding their product portfolio and representing at least 20% of InBev's global beer volume by the end of 2025. The company also wants to place a guidance label on all beer products in each of its markets by the end of 2020, which will in turn increase alcohol health literacy by the end of 2025. As far as the campaign timetable lays out, these four global smart drinking goals were initiated in 2015, and they are expected to be completed by 2025. So that lays out a 10-year timetable. The company didn't specifically break down year by year how that progression will look, but it should be within a 10-year span. The themes of the campaign are to influence social norms and behaviors around alcohol consumption, educate consumers on alcohol literacy, create new products with lower alcohol levels. And the key message is to end harmful or irresponsible drinking, involving but not limited to underage drinking, binge drinking, and drunk driving. Now I'm going to take you through the specific actions and events that InBev is implementing within each of its four global smart drinking goals. So first, let's start with the global city pilots. InBev is working to decrease harmful alcohol use in specifically 6 targeted pilot cities, and these cities were chosen based on several criteria, including recognizing areas with a strong alcohol presence and local political will to implement the necessary programs, and different criteria kind of related within those realms. The cities that InBev chose are Leuven in Belgium, Santa Cruz in Bolivia, Brasilia in Brazil, Jingshan in China, Zacatecas in Mexico, and Columbus, Ohio, here in the United States. So in Columbus, InBev is working with Ohio State University, Columbus Public Health, and neighborhood groups to launch a survey focus group that examines local drinking habits and continues to monitor those attitudes towards drinking through an independent baseline study. In Brasilia, Brazil, InBev is partnering with a program called Brasilia Safe Life, which focuses on road safety, citizens' quality of life, and health. And they kicked off the partnership with a meeting in September that brought together more than 300 stakeholders at that event. In Leuven, Brazil, they launched a program to showcase Safety Spin, which is a machine that stimulated the experience of driving drunk by spinning the user in an effort to make them dizzy. The simulation machine was placed in a busy parking garage, and then that's where it proved to many that while they felt that they might be able to drive after drinking, they were unable to do so safely. As far as the social norms goal goes, InBev is developing a toolkit that will provide guidelines to support the design, deployment, and internal assessment and monitoring of the smart drinking campaigns and programs around the world. To date, 20,000 teenagers have participated in workshops and trainings, and close to 8 million have engaged in the program's online communication channels. In addition to this toolkit, InBev is investing in coalitions, including Together for Safer Roads and its Por un Buen Camino road safety program that helps change driver behaviors by instilling powerful best practices delivered through channels that have proven to be effective in reducing accidents and fatalities. The market for no and lower alcohol beer is picking up and will continue to develop within upcoming years. InBev has continued to build on this opportunity and expand its global portfolio of non-alcoholic beverages, currently housing over 15 brands, including the #1 non-alcoholic beer in Brazil called Brahma. InBev is also working with Tufts University's Public Health Group in its 4th goal to increase alcohol literacy by prototyping a global guidance label, which the company hopes to place on all of its beer products by the end of year 2020. The label will include information for people to avoid harmful drinking in hopes of increasing alcohol literacy by 2025. Along with the new branding efforts, InBev also launched an internal alcohol literacy training program in September 2016. The media implemented throughout this campaign includes mainly community buzz through the program implementation, local celebrity promotions for the Safety Spin Machine, its kickoff event, and media surrounding it for Brasilia Safe Life Project in Brazil with over 300 shareholders, community involvement in the 6 locations that we covered earlier in Belgium, Bolivia, Brazil, China, Mexico, and the United States, and just different universities, hospitals, public health officials, and city governments in public-private partnerships that are helping to find, test, and measure policy interventions to reduce the harmful consumption of alcohol. InBev implemented the Global City Pilot's goal through baseline studies, tests, and research that will hopefully reduce the harmful use of drinking by 10%. The social norms is implemented through the toolkit that the company is developing currently. Expanding product portfolio is being implemented through testing these different no alcohol and lower alcohol content beers and other liquors. And increasing alcohol literacy is being implemented through their new global guidance label and alcohol literacy training program.
The company is evaluating their success using top-notch academic professionals who are outside of the company to assure that their goals are met. They plan to complete their campaign efforts by 2025, and they also plan to use scientific evidence of results and report it in peer-reviewed journals. To review, the Global Smart Drinking Goals campaign by AB InBev aimed to change social norms and behaviors around harmful alcohol use. They plan to do this with their 4 main initiatives, which include their global city pilots, influencing social norms, expanding product portfolio, and increasing alcohol literacy. To do this, they invested at least $1 billion dedicated to social marketing campaigns and programs, and created these initiatives and programs in partnerships with public health experts. The key takeaways are that social norms and behaviors can be changed through more education and programs. The Safe Global Drinking included preventing drunk driving, underage drinking, binge drinking, which were the social norms that AB InBev aimed to change. For our specific recommendations, we think that it would be smart if they utilize social media to show the programs in action and the outcomes as they happen, to allow the public to see what they're working on and the success that they are getting. Secondly, we would like if they specified where the money is directly going to so people could see the difference in what it is specifically making.
The circuit of culture is exposed in this campaign first through regulation as it reduces unhealthy and harmful use of alcohol. The production element is expressed as the campaign was stimulated in efforts to control use of alcohol and promote safe, responsible drinking out of the company's culture and other goals. The representation element is expressed through the execution of the campaign to inform publics through partnerships, toolkits, and research, labeling, expanding portfolio, and an alcohol literacy program. The consumption element shows that beer consumers understand how responsible drinking may impact his or her personal safety, responsibilities, and other issues related to alcohol consumption. And lastly, the identity element of the circuit of culture relates with the campaign as beer consumers understand how they contribute and have personal roles in road safety with drinking. Thank you.